Hello and welcome to We the People. The arrest of Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan's son Aryan Khan by the Narcotics Control Bureau (NCB) has once again thrown the spotlight on the drug menace in India. High-profile drug busts make for great headlines, but are we missing the forest for the trees? Drug use, especially among the youth, is a pervasive phenomenon caused by an ugly cocktail of unaddressed mental health issues, peer pressure, lack of parental guidance, unemployment, and most importantly, the easy availability of drugs and narcotics. We're asking tonight, does India's youth have a drug problem, and do we need to nip it at the source instead of focusing at the consumer? First, on the show joining us tonight is Mr. Gupta. That's not his real name. He's a social activist. He works with drug de-addiction and rehabilitation on the ground in Punjab, a state where the abuse of psychotropic drugs has been a scourge for over 2 decades. Mr. Gupta, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us on We the People. Punjab's drug problem has been well documented. In your work, Aapke Kaam Mein, do you see a lot of youth, a lot of teens afflicted? How serious is this problem? All right, we seem to be having some trouble getting Mr. Gupta on the line. Let's go across then. Let me just introduce the rest of our panel. We'll have Akash Banerjee joining us, a political satirist, Vidit Bhari, MD of Sukoon Gurgaon. It's a rehab center managed by the Fortis. Jyotsna Mohan, author of Stoned, Shamed, Depressed, a book that delves into the lives of teens in Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities of India, and Dr. Sandeep Vora, a neuropsychiatrist and de-addiction specialist at the Indraprastha Apollo Hospitals. Jyotsna Mohan, to you first. Aryan Khan is not the first young man to come under the cloud of drugs, but if one were to look at the sensational headlines, the WhatsApp forwards that we've all been receiving this week, one would imagine that drugs happens in India only to kids of film stars and rich dads. According to you, your book, you've researched this extensively, you've met hundreds of students and youth. Is that true? According to you, does, drugs, as we say in India, the scandal, does it only happen to star kids and rich, spoilt brats?
Sarah, I'm just flabbergasted by the reaction of, very educated parents whose children are in schools, the WhatsApp groups. I'm just fascinated with the kind of response that has come from adults asking for really harsh punishment for Aryan Khan so that, they can set an example. But, just 3 days ago, I got a phone call from somebody who's, she has a regular job in the corporate sector. And she's just one of the many who've been writing into me. And she said, I need your help. And I need your help because my son is 15 and he is on drugs. And this is how common it is, Sarah. This is how often people have got in touch with me asking me how they can help, how I can help them, who they can get in touch with. And I am just amazed that we don't consider this a malaise. We keep looking at the symptoms. We look at the fact that there's a celeb involved, so we're going to go after him. We're not going to look at the fact that, this is a first timer. We don't talk about things like rehabilitation. And these are educated people who are, and I've seen this across when I was writing the books for whatever issues, whether it is uploading kind of material that parents don't agree with, that, that the fact that anything uncomfortable for us as educated people doesn't go down well. And we try and bring it on to one particular person. And schools say that sometimes they have to take harsh punishments for the simple reason that parents get after them and said, we don't want our children studying with someone like this, whether it is vaping, whether it is drugs, whether someone's been caught in an intimate position. Everything needs to be, dealt with a harsh hand, and I don't understand why.
No, but is that because parents are ignorant about their own kids? If it's so common?
There is, I have to say that a lot of parents don't really know what's going on, or they remain in denial. And the fact that it's uncomfortable for them, drugs don't happen in our society. So I think it's a larger context of the society as well, because these things are not meant to happen in our society. Although a lot of them will understand. I mean, after class 12, Sarah, a lot of these children had to go out. I mean, it is the done thing. It didn't happen during COVID, but it's the done thing for class 12 to finish their board examinations and plain loads to head to Goa. And every kind kind of thing is available, and the amount of children who've spoken to me openly. That also brings me to the issue that these children would like to have conversations. If I can get through to stranger after stranger after stranger opening up to me, what they're looking for is they're looking to, whether it is schools, whether it is their parents, whether it is the policymakers, they're looking to have conversation. They're looking to solve their problems. Are we solving them? Are we talking about rehabilitation? No, we're not. I mean, the Supreme Court a couple of years ago asked the center that what are you going to do about the youth and children, youth and drugs? And there is still no response. Everybody knows what is going on around schools, the pan wala and, the ice cream wala. Those who want to find somebody, like in Aryan Khan's case, they can find. But those who don't want to find will not find it in the pan wala or the ice cream wala as well.
Fascinating. Vidit Bari, you've been working with youth. How deep is this problem according to you, and how do Indian parents react? Because I'm assuming the parents are bringing the children to you.
Absolutely. So first off, thank you so much for having me on this platform. And I really think you guys touched upon a very key aspect of this problem, which is the community's role in, the whole drug crisis in India, or, in a macrocosm around the world. It's very important as a society for us to kind of come together and address issues around curiosity with, drugs or any other kind of intoxicants. And it's very important that parents talk to children about what all is out there.
Do Indian parents find these topics such as these hard to discuss, tough to discuss? Sex, drugs, mental health issues, today's World Mental Health Day?
I think as a culture, we Indians like to shove, certain touchy topics under the carpet. So yes, there is a reluctance to really talk about, the hard topics such as sex, drugs, mental health at an early stage, at a preventive stage. And we usually come to professionals like, doctor on here when it's already, at its peak. So yes, focusing on preventive measures towards talking about such difficult topics at a young age is essential according to me. And, that's where it really should be addressed.
But then we also have to be talking to parents. It's not just the kids who have the problem, it's the parents also. But Dr. Sandeep Vora, you've been working with de-addiction for almost 3 decades now, right? You're probably, I think, the most experienced amongst all of us here. So what are the changes you've seen since 30 years ago? Because India, I think, has one of the strictest, acts to fight the scourge of drugs since 1985.
Yeah, according to me, I have seen there is gradual increase in consumption, and has already been, it has been pointed out by my co-panelists, it is rampant. And it is wrong to say that only the high profile or celebrities children have it. It's rampant from lowest to the highest category. It is easily available. All these drugs are available, and it differs from case to case. In some cases, parents are the ones who are so ashamed that they don't want the son or daughter to be treated. On the other hand, you will have parents who coming out openly to my clinic and saying that, okay, this is a problem and we want to address it, and we want to do it in purely scientific manner. The most important thing which I feel in Aryan Khan's case is that, see, if some celeb's son has been found to be having some intoxicant, the narrative has to change here. It's high time we change the narrative. It should not be because he's Shah Rukh Khan's son, so it becomes a big story. We should use this opportunity to highlight the drug menace in the country. We should highlight it for the youth of our country to understand. The government, the state and the central government should understand that this has to be addressed in a purely scientific manner. The role of prevention, the fact that all of us have to be aware that it's a big problem. So all these things go haywire once the story dies down, then ultimately we are going back to the same way. So I personally feel that it's high time that all of us, all the stakeholders should sit together, address this issue and handle it in a scientific manner in which on one hand preventive aspect, on the other hand treatment aspect. Both have to be handled
but I want to just
simultaneously.
Reconfirm or stress on one possible myth that, all drug use, etc., doesn't happen only on, these fancy cruises, etc.
Not at all.
Saying,
Not at
so
all.
there's an Aryan in all of our homes. There's no strata
Yes.
of society that's immune.
Absolutely.
Please clarify that, doctor. Is it a
Absolutely.
rural problem? Is it an urban problem?
Yes.
Rich, poor?
No. Wait a second. I get patients from the rural area. I get patients from all strata. I get patients from the lowest strata to the highest strata. I treat celebrities, their kids. I treat the lowest villagers. It is rampant everywhere. This Afim is available in rural areas. It's so old. And all these things we have to understand this is a myth that only highest profile or the celebrities take it. No. All stratas are equally affected. It is detrimental to anybody and everybody who consumes it. So I'm clarifying it. And it's high time we address the issue in a scientific way by understanding that this is something which is rampant and it has to be treated. See, if you just put law and you arrest and you just, say that law will take into its own course, it may be relevant for one case. But here we're talking of the youth of the country. It has to be done in such a way that people understand that this is a problem, growing menace, and it will keep on going in case we don't handle it in a scientific way.
All right, so drug abuse, drug use happens in privileged homes and with the homeless. Akash Banji, I want to come to you, but I managed to get Mr. Gupta back on the phone line. So let me just go across to you. Gupta ji, हम आपसे पूछ रहे थे कि आप काम करते हो on the ground in a state that has been probably, the worst affected over the years. Do you see a lot of youth and teens? आपकी experience क्या है? How serious is this problem? Because over the past week, we all there seems to be this kind of, these kids just want to be cool, it's fine, they have the money to spend so they can do this, but parents की background क्या होती है? The parents who come to you, how does it affect them? उनके ऊपर क्या गुजरती है? Does this leave broken homes in the wake? Mr. Gupta.
Yes.
गुप्ता जी, आपकी एक्सपीरियंस क्या है?
हाँ, एक्चुअली यहाँ अगर पंजाब में देखा जाए तो यहाँ रूरल एरिया में से बहुत ज्यादा ड्रग है, बहुत ज्यादा पर्टिकुलरली अगर आप पंजाब की बात करें तो यहाँ बेसिकली जब ये फिनोमेना शुरू होता है 2010-12 से, तब से इसने किसी को भी अपनी ग्रिप्स में से दूर नहीं रखा, सभी को इसने इन्वॉल्व कर लिया, चाहे वो हाई सोसाइटी के साथ कांटेक्ट रखता है, चाहे वो लो सोसाइटी के साथ कांटेक्ट रखता है। जैसे हम मेरे से पहले एक एक्सपर्ट बात कर रहे थे कि इसने किसी भी कैटेगरी को नहीं छोड़ा, और जो कम से कम गरीब है उसको तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं छोड़ा। हमारे पंजाब में जब रिहेबिलिटेशन सेंटर्स बहुत ज्यादा हैं, प्राइवेट भी बहुत ज्यादा हैं, गवर्नमेंट भी हैं, 125 के पास तो गवर्नमेंट हैं, और इससे ज्यादा मात्रा, इससे ज्यादा यानी कि नंबर्स ऑफ प्राइवेट्स हैं। तो यहाँ से बहुत ही रूरल बैकग्राउंड से अभी ज्यादा पेशेंट्स आ रहे हैं, बहुत ज्यादा पेशेंट्स आ रहे हैं, और उनकी एज भी बहुत कम है। ये नहीं है कि एज कुछ ज्यादा एज है, बहुत कम एज के आते हैं। और पंजाब में मैं बेसिकली आपको पंजाब के बारे में ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि पंजाब में अदर टाइप ऑफ ड्रग्स बहुत कम है। पंजाब में हेरोइन बहुत ज्यादा है। हेरोइन की इतनी क्वांटिटी है कि मेरे ख्याल ऑल ओवर दी कंट्री, होल दी कंट्री, कहीं नहीं इतनी हेरोइन की यूज हो रही जितनी अभी पंजाब में यूज हो रही है। और इसने एक और मैं आपको बात बताना चाहता हूँ कि यहाँ पंजाब में एक किसी के जो फैमिली है, हाउस होल्ड है, उसमें किसी में एक लड़का है, और वो भी यानी कि हेरोइन की वजह से उसकी भी डेथ हो चुकी है। आगे कुछ बचा ही नहीं है। ये आप कहेंगे कि कुछ 2-3 ब्रदर होते हैं तो चलो ठीक है, एक की डेथ हो गई, हम टॉलरेट तो वो भी नहीं करते, बट उनकी खत्म ही होगी, उनकी वंश ही खत्म हो चुकी है। इतनी ज्यादा इसने यानी कि यहाँ किया है, अफेक्ट किया है फैमिली को कि हम आपको बता नहीं सकते। और रिसेंट जो अभी प्रैक्टिस हो रही है, अभी भी हेरोइन की ज्यादा हो रही है। जो रिहेबिलिटेशन सेंटर्स हैं बड़े पड़े हैं पंजाब में, तो हेरोइन की वजह से ही बड़े पड़े हैं। और हेरोइन की बात मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, आप अगर अलाउ करें तो। हेरोइन भी 2 टाइप्स की आ रही है। एक को बोल रहे हैं वो बॉर्डर से आ रही है, पार से आ रही है, उसको बोलते हैं हमारी लोकल लैंग्वेज में। और एक आती है दिल्ली से आ रही है, जिनको नीग्रो बिल्ड कर रहे हैं, और उसमें केमिकल है। 5500 रुपया 1 ग्राम का रेट है यहाँ, और बहुत इजीली अवेलेबल है। आप कहीं से भी ले लो, और कोई चीज आपने लेनी है तो आपको मुश्किल से मिलेगी। अफीम मुश्किल से मिलेगी आपको, पॉपी हाउस है वो मुश्किल से मिलेगी, पर चिट्टा बहुत इजीली मिल जाएगा आपको पंजाब में।
easily available hai. This is frightening. It should be frightening for anyone who's watching, anyone with kids. And you know, Akash Banerjee, if you listen to all our experts, they've been working in this field for years, for decades, and they're all saying it's easily available. And if you hear their stories and their experiences, one would think that the NCB should be very busy, yet we only hear of these, you know, one-off cases, and they're these big sensational headline cases. As we saw with Sushant Singh Rajput and then Riya Chakravarti, then we had a media witch hunt. And yes, all that creates the sensational headlines, but it doesn't offer a solution. We seem to be flogging these individual incidents rather than launching investigations that will lead to accountability. Is there accountability?
Sarah, the NCB is busy. Let's give due credit to the NCB. It's busy busting ganja. You see, the whole point is that the NCB has understood drug problem of India as only a problem of ganja. And therefore, we will completely demonize anybody who's having ganja, even if it is a matter of a few grams, while we will let the real perpetrators go. Just few very, very alarming statistics that we came through when we were building an episode. We are looking at 99% cases being filed for individual usage. So the criminal is the end user. That's the understanding. So 95 to 99% of the cases are being filed at individuals. So it doesn't seem that there is a supply chain. It just seems that the end user who might have been passed out or whatever case might be, he is really the core of the problem. If you find the end user, you have solved the drug problem of India. The bigger worry is 87% of the cases filed by the Narcotics Control Bureau have to do with ganja. So when heroin, as being mentioned very clearly, is killing generations, it is destroying families, the NCB is worried more about ganja. These are the hard facts that we have to understand, is that ganja was unfortunately brought into and clubbed with hard drugs in 1985 under US pressure by Rajiv Gandhi. Across the world, ganja, cannabis, weed is looked at separately from hard drugs. We have to fight against the hard drugs. What is being happening right now is that there is a fake war that has been waged against drugs. Find high-profile cases, high-profile targets, say that we are doing so much. While on the ground, what is happening is the real drug is percolating. Synthetic drugs were mentioned. Just one very interesting point is India sits in between the Golden Crescent and the Golden Triangle. The Golden Crescent is all the Afghan poppy that is cultivated through Pakistan and Iran, reaches out to the whole world. The Golden Triangle is Myanmar, that produces cocaine and heroin, is again funneled out through Laos and Thailand. Myanmar is also doing synthetic drugs. So there is evolution happening in the field of drugs. You have more deadly drugs that are coming in. MDMA, synthetic drugs, cocaine, of course, hashish. So are we fighting the real thing, or are we just going after the easy target? What the research shows, the data shows, is that we are going after the easy target at this point of time, the end user, the ganja user, while the hard drug continues to percolate across India.
So it's a fake war on drugs, you're saying, strong words there. And I agree with you. Like I said, are we missing the forest for the trees? But at some level also, are we downplaying even ganja? You can become too much overuse does also affect you. Now, how do we also look at the big picture? We can't also dismiss that India has a problem, right?
So look at ganja, huh? It's very interesting. Historically, it had always been part of our culture. Even now, bhang, which is made out of ganja, is legalized. There is no question about it, is that any sort of substance shouldn't be abused. There should be adequate information about it. The control. Now tell me, ganja, that's the one that you were talking about, easily available, the rickshaw wala, the ice cream wala. How are they managing to do all of this? Are you telling me that the police is not aware and it is so easily available? It is happening with the knowledge of the system.
But they're looking elsewhere.
Yeah. So
and at the same time, we're seeing internationally, marijuana is even being legalized, and that's probably confusing for youth who, possibly they're watching the same shows on Netflix as their American counterparts, and all of this is now legal or talked about more casually and more openly. Let me quickly just try and bring in some of our audience who have some comments. I'm told we have Male Pandey and Debajina Chakrabarti and Baltej Pannu. Could you just unmute yourself, Male, and go ahead?
Greetings to all the panelists here. My question is that the progressive youth is being swallowed by the effect of drugs. What is pushing up the effective government institution and responsible agencies in playing a regressive role on the subjects of youth and health of the nation?
All right. Debjina Chakravarti.
Am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The acceptance of drugs and alcohol has come from films and music, where addiction is glamorized and romanticized to an extent that it becomes compulsive. So my question is it fair enough to do so? Does it not provoke the youngster?
Because they're influenceable. Baltej Pannu?
जी ऐसा है कि ये जितनी देर तक आप ये नहीं समझते कि ये नेक्सस ट्रायंगल है, इसमें पॉलिटिशियन है, हमारी तो एक जनरेशन खत्म हो गई पंजाब में.
हाँ जी.
इट्स फिनिश. इसमें पॉलिटिशियन है, पुलिस की ब्लैक शीप्स है और स्मगलर हैं. 2 रिपोर्ट्स हमारे पंजाब हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट में 2 साल से ज्यादा समय हो गया. एक रिपोर्ट तो एसटीएफ स्पेशल टास्क फोर्स उनके हेड ने तैयार की है, दूसरी डीजीपी के द्वारा तैयार हुई है. ये दोनों रिपोर्ट्स 2 साल से खुल नहीं पाई. क्यों नहीं खुल पाई? क्योंकि इनमें नाम पुलिस वालों के भी हैं, इनमें नाम पॉलिटिशियंस के भी हैं. सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या ये दोनों हमारे यूथ को खत्म कर देना चाहते हैं? एक बोल रहे से गुप्ता जी के 10 से शुरू हुआ. नो, मैं 2003 से इसके ऊपर काम कर रहा हूं. 2003 में सबसे पहले डॉक्यूमेंट्री मैंने तैयार की थी, चिट्टे का चिट्टा सच, और उस समय वार्न किया था कि हम खत्म हो जाएंगे, लेकिन किसी ने नहीं सुना. 2003 से ये शुरू हुआ. और ये जो सिंथेटिक ड्रग है ये किसी अफगानिस्तान से नहीं आती, पाकिस्तान से नहीं आती. यहाँ फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज है जो हिमाचल में बद्दी एरिया पड़ता है, वहां पर सबसे ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस होती है. एक आदमी अरेस्ट हुआ था जनवरी 2021 में, अनवर मसीह, अमृतसर से. वो ड्रग सेम पोर्ट पे आई थी जहां पर अभी 3000 किलो ड्रग आई है. वहां से एक अफगानिस्तान का नागरिक पकड़ा गया था. वो इसलिए वो घर पे काम करता
था. So it's a bigger, all right, I understand what I think we're all in agreement. I think the first, if I could just wrap up or sum up, I think first what we need to do is acknowledge that we have a problem. It's not a one-off. It doesn't only happen to star kids. It doesn't only happen on cruise ships. Drug use in our students, in our youth, it's a challenging issue. It needs a collaborative effort. It needs a multi-level approach from parents, from schools, from healthcare providers. Early identification, early intervention, that's vital both at the personal and at an institutional level. Thank you all for joining us on We the People tonight. I think we'd just like to close by saying we as a society need to take a look in the mirror, ask ourselves hard questions as parents, as citizens, as neighbors, as a support structure, and also ask hard questions to our government. What are they doing to protect our children? Because the reality is that drug transactions do not only happen on glamorous cruise ships. Thank you for joining us on We the People, where we believe it is important to speak up, but also important to listen. Bye-bye.